I sprinted through the center of the cramped halls of the Sheraton Weston Hotel, urgently rushing for a single empty restroom at breakneck speed. A mighty need had rushed over me. This mighty need was no normal need, for I needed to evacuate my bowels, and with extreme haste. My next round of domestic extemporaneous speaking would begin in a matter of minutes. Careening into the marble stall door, I planted my body onto an open toilet and prepared for desolation. Despite the importance of national speech and debate, I had more on my mind than politics or even actually being good at speaking. All that mattered is that I was not going to soil my britches and, by extension, my reputation. Oh, probably a telemarketer, I thought to myself. A persistent telemarketer. Okay. Closing up shop, I decided not to check the calls until later. I had a competition to attend to. One round later, and I've given a speech that surely contained revelations to completely change the nature of politics on this entire planet. But by this point of the second day of the tournament, I am about to trip and die on either a hotel rug or my own dwindling ego, but I still had a single strip of a chance of making it to the top 60 competitors. It was time to relax and recompose. That's when I remembered those pesky phone calls. 3 missed calls, all from the same number. The important detail here is that all of which were from the same registered caller ID. My local police department. Oh God, what have I done? That's a really good one, scammers. You guys really got me going there. I'm just gonna Google search my real police station phone number and prove y'all wrong. I proclaimed seconds before being proven wrong. A 2-second search on my archaic phone revealed that this number was not only from my hometown, but was the bona fide long arm of the law. Earlier, getting to the restroom fast enough served as a priority, and very suddenly, this priority resurfaced. Recollecting myself in the lobby, I dialed the number back. Initially, I received no response, but on my second attempt, I reached an office employee that was incredibly confused as to why an equally confused beta male was calling the police department while sounding like he had just swallowed a nice chunk of sandpaper sushi. I was able to inform her that I too had no idea why the police would want to talk to me, leading to a quick question if I was attached to any cases or investigations, and of course I wasn't. I was too busy reading a pseudo-intellectual book or generally radiating a slimy aura to be tied to any cases. They had summoned me! Yet, she continued to insist that this event was a figment of my own imagination. The audacity of this highly trained professional! A grand conspiracy is underway, and I will get to the bottom of it. The tournament continued, business as usual, aside from my now crippling anxiety and confusion regarding why these calls were left on my phone. I hadn't envisioned the calls. They mocked me from my call log, yet a purpose they did not serve. I was a sitting duck to the forces of nature, and I just needed to continue competing. Another inquiry would arrive around 11 o'clock in the morning. This time, a correspondence with a friend of mine and recent ex-employee of our local evil megalomaniac death corporation known as Subway. I had worked at the sandwich vendor for a matter of months prior, but terminated my employment as a sandwich artiste due to a miscommunication that resulted in my time for nationals being completely forgotten. My initial interview with my manager had guaranteed this time off, and thus I could not work these requirements due to my obligations. Human error is to be expected, and I had a very trusting relationship with that specific manager, so it was simply for the best to leave the prestigious title graciously. Regardless, why was my brainlet coworker trying to contact me? Perhaps he could provide me some much-needed insight. With the grace of a Rottweiler in socks on a kitchen floor, my friend began the conversation with an ultimatum of doom. He came to me not with a blessing or even his typical poorly timed inane whining, but with awful news that should be heeded if I were to value my freedom. A young employee, for the purpose of this retelling, she will now be dubbed Beth, has had $130 disappear from her purse on my last day of employment. I have been accused of personally seizing this currency. I had also been seen stealing money from the register and cash box. Reportedly, I am on camera performing these heinous acts. Perhaps I had eaten my free sandwich near her purse and she misplaced the money. Did I move her purse to the side to access a Littlest Pet Shop toy for a shrieking goblin pseudo-human? I was an idiot, but I was no thief. Even today, I could only dream of possessing an entire $130 whole dollars at any given moment. Truth was a necessity. Yet the small Starbucks below the Sheraton's twin escalators was devoid of it. Concluding my communication with my monkey-esque colleague, I needed to notify my parental units as fast as possible. If I required an elite task force of uber lawyers that I could not afford to serve justice, then so it shall be. An elite coalition of employees led by my manager could destroy this nasty rumor. In the end, justice will, no, justice must be done. My time performing had not yet expired, but it was heavily damaged. The blinding sense of justice, primal fear of America's malleable small chord circuit, was all-consuming and had overwritten the drive to compete. Between the fellow employees' inquiry and my next round, I missed multiple other calls from a mysterious being with my same area code. The arrival of these strange messages not only signified the death of the speech competitor, but the birth of a detective to put Inspector Gadget to shame. It was time to investigate every single coworker at that accursed establishment, and I would be the one to do it. I dialed the series of digits into my keypad at the speed of Hermes and awaited a response, yet I only received a busy signal from the mysterious number. Such an inconvenience would not impede the path of the righteous. Not 5 minutes later, and the specter returns my polite and totally not neurotically panicked call, addressing me by name. I swiftly realized I speak not to a mortal, but to an angelic deity. A detective. He greets me with a statement that he is attempting to unravel this mystery himself, but he must ask me a few questions. Initially, he verifies my presence out of state, my reasoning for being here, and he then comments on my academic and legal standing. Essentially, he understood that the most illegal thing I had the capacity of doing was jaywalking and maybe pirating a copy of the Seinfeld box set if I really needed to. My worry was dispelled with a single phrase. So, let me get this straight. You didn't tell your manager to her face that you stole $130 from Beth, felt guilty, and then proceed to admit that you did it, to her face. He was right. That never happened. Who could be perpetuating these dreaded rumors? As it turns out, I was a blind moron. The solution is so obvious that I am actually an inept waste for not catching on sooner. The detective of pure light explained the situation to me simply. My manager had ducked calls from the police department the entire day. Her vehicle was not visible in town. No friends could contact her. She was off the grid. The mere act of answering that phone invalidated my status as a suspect. Investigation would still be required, but I was clear. I was completely obliterated at the tournament, but honestly, who cares? In the end, the manager and her husband, posing as an upkeep man, had orchestrated a smear campaign on my name while stealing the money themselves. The worst element being that she never had access to the cameras in the first place. Liar, liar, crusty green Subway monogrammed apron on fire. All came crashing down when the owner, much like the act of disowning a child who reveals their liking of the band Five Finger Death Punch, ordered the manager to leave and never show her miserable face again. I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. Loaves of bread on fire off the shoulder of delinquent employees. I've watched icicles glitter in the dark near the corner of the rusty section of the debatably malfunctioning freezer. All those moments will be lost in time, like tears in rain. It was time for the trusted relationship with my manager to die. The immense amount of respect she earned was blistered away in the span of a single day, and I was too trusting to understand that. Placing blind trust in respected individuals creates more danger than opposing them. Only through this trial of pain, suffering, agony, hell, devastation, boredom, other creative words did I emerge as a titan of truth, justice, and the American way. I learned that authority couldn't always be blindly trusted, and I only could have done it through the biblical locust swarm of an organization that is Subway.